Happy Halloween, my ghoulish friends, and welcome to my latest video, Halloween Horror Ultimate Ranking. That's right, I'm going to go through 6 different categories, all to do with spooky Halloween stuff. Candy and candy bars are in there, movies, games, spooky music that I like, more bands and artists, but anime, and of course, because puppets freak me out, I have to include spooky on-screen puppets as a category too. So why don't we dive right into this and have ourselves a spooktacular little bit of countdown fun. Okay, so first up on the countdown, or the ultimate ranking, as it will, is music, the music category. Now, for music categories, a little bit different than the other ones, because as the other ones, I'll just kind of have stuff playing in the background, or images of them in the background. The music, I want to give a quick snippet of the actual song or musical piece, just so you know, and then maybe have some little 8-bit creepy versions kind of come in here and there throughout the rest of the episode. I think that might be fun. So for every category, I have runner-ups, and then I have a top 5. So I'll do a quick little rundown of the runner-ups and why I think they're runner-ups, and then I'll talk about the top 5. I'm going to go too much in detail, but just enough to give you my sense of the choices here. And I love these kind of ranking videos because this is the perfect way for people who are interested in hearing other people's opinions. You do not have to agree with my opinions at all. The idea is that maybe I've chosen something you've never heard or seen of, and wow, he ranked that high. Maybe I should check that out for myself. That kind of thing. It's about exploring what other people think is cool, and maybe you come across something you really like. Not about fighting over opinions here, but that being said, these are my picks for Halloween music, related music to Halloween, something along spooky lines like that. So for runners up, I have Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne.
Bark at the moon.
Now, Bark at the Moon, Ozzy Osbourne, perfect Halloween song. Doesn't quite hit my list, but it still fits in the category, hence runner up. Now, I have a whole slew of theme songs here, and I'll give little tidbits of them all, but these are all runners-up because I don't think... I chose bands and artists as top 5. I don't think theme songs... they're meant to be, theme songs for these things. They're not... they are spooky songs, but they're not meant to be, like, actual horror music, if you will. So, the theme songs I chose as runner-ups are the Goosebumps theme, the Halloween theme from the Halloween movies, the Exorcist theme from the Exorcist movie. Creeped me the hell out as a kid, let me tell you. And of course, the X-Files theme song. Kind of creepy as well. Now, in my top 5, again, these are songs with an artist that's proper song. You might not agree with these. You might want to find, well, these aren't really Halloween related. I just find there's a reason for all these to fit in a kind of spooky atmosphere for Halloween. So, number 5 is The Call of Ktulu by Metallica. Yeah, how can you not go wrong with something like that? It's inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, and it is, H.P. Lovecraft is like just a phenomenal horror writer from way back when. Very science fiction, like horror, doom type horror, that like existential crisis type horror. It's very good stuff. And Call of Ktulu, that song there just invokes all the feelings you get when you read these creepy stories, and therefore I think it fits perfectly as a creepy Halloween tune to be played in the background. I think it's just perfect for something like this. So Metallica, Call of Ktulu, that's number 5. Number 4 in the list, Wait and Bleed by Slipknot. Yeah, I put that on there because, I mean, Slipknot, I mean, there's a bunch of masked spooky bands like War and whatnot, but Slipknot to me is the ones that are the most mainstream and kind of do it right. You know, they're spooky, but they're, you know, they can kind of get away with doing that all year round. They don't have to make it a Halloween type thing. But Wait and Bleed, if you ever watched the music video with the creepy puppets moving around, it fits perfectly for Halloween. And Slipknot always puts that horror imagery in their stuff anyways, but Wait and Bleed for some reason just stands out to me as a quick, you know, little Halloween fun song. So, number 3 on the list, Poison by Alice Cooper. You're all thinking, Alice Cooper, perfectly, I get that. But why Poison? Why not one of any song from Welcome to My Nightmare or Feed My Frankenstein, which is perfect Halloween? Now, I chose Poison because it's still got that spooky atmosphere, but it's such an anthem. It's a perfect, I mean, I guess you could argue that Feed My Frankenstein is too, but I find Poison is just that much, I don't know, personal choice, I guess, came in there. And Poison is just a perfect spooky anthem for, you know, Halloween type mood and atmosphere. And Alice Cooper is the king of putting that stuff on. You literally could choose any Alice Cooper song and plug it in there, but I chose Poison, so that's my third choice there. Second choice, similar as the Alice Cooper thing that I just talked about, I chose Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden. So, same kind of thing. A bunch of songs could have probably been plugged in here. Even some of the earliest stuff like Killers or Murders in the Rue Morgue, Hallowed Be Thy Name. You could throw a bunch of Iron Maiden songs in here. Eddie, like anything to do with Eddie is just perfect spooky atmosphere, Halloween atmosphere. But Fear of the Dark is just a classic, easy, everybody knows it, and it's the lyrics invoke everything spooky about Halloween and the darkness and being scared to take a corner on the street because you never know what's going to be there, right? Perfect for Halloween atmosphere. Which leads me to my number 1 choice, Halloween by Helloween.
In the streets of Helloween, there's something going on. No way to escape the paranoia.
Yeah, how can you go wrong, right? A song about Halloween by a band who has invoked all of their imagery around Halloween, with even their name, Helloween. Yeah, it's the perfect pumpkin experience for Halloween, and the song is talking about trick-or-treating and ghouls and ghosts and all kinds of spooky things. If you wanted to partner this one with another great Halloween song, you could throw Keeper of the Seven Keys in there for good measure. It probably got about 25 minutes between the two songs, but you know, they're worth it, especially on Halloween. Those are perfect songs to listen to back-to-back on your Halloween playlist. I totally suggest taking a listen to those. You can listen to almost anything by Helloween as well, but Halloween is just the perfect song for Halloween. And that's the music category. Okay, second category is anime. So, there's some really good spooky anime out there. I've got a list of, I think, the top. Again, you don't have to agree with these, but here are the runner-ups. The runner-ups for anime, I chose Another. Good anime. Good spooky horror anime. Didn't quite make my list, but very good. From the New World, which is more drama and some minor action, less spooky, but it does have some spooky elements, especially later on. Gantz, which certainly has some weird, dark elements to it. Can get a little, I wouldn't say spooky, but it does get a little horrific at times. The Junji Ito collection, which if you don't know who Junji Ito is, think of him as the Japanese H.P. Lovecraft. Amazing manga author who does some very horrific stuff, and the Junji Ito collection is basically an anime where they explore a bunch of his minor stories, and they do it fairly well. I really enjoy it. I actually just got into it recently myself. Tokyo Ghoul, obvious reasons. It's very Halloween relatable. It's again more of an action, less it's got horror elements into it, but it's more of an action. And then When They Cry, Higurashi, I think, yeah. Very, it doesn't, you'll see a picture of it and you're like, this looks like a slice of life, like drama anime. No, it's a horror anime, let me assure you. In fact, it has some very dark stuff that happens into it. So check it out if you're, don't get too queasy easily. And there's a fingernail pulling scene in there that just still haunts me. So I'm sure there's a ton of other good horror ones I could choose, but those are the runner-ups. Here are my top 5. In the number 5 spot, Shiki. The perfect vampire horror anime. I know there's a bunch of vampire horror animes, or just vampire animes that are more romantic or stuff like that, but Shiki does it right with the horror elements, the paced storytelling, kind of oddly paced storytelling, but it does it right, and it invokes a very spooky Halloween-like atmosphere in doing it. Number 4 is Corpse Party Tortured Souls. You gotta have this one on the list. If it's Halloween, it's horrific. Corpse Party is like the most like deranged dark anime I've ever seen, and they obviously is based off the game, and the game has good endings and bad endings, and in the anime they chose the bad ending route, and boy did they go all in with it. It is very disturbing, very dark. If you're looking for something to freak you out in the anime world, Corpse Party is a perfect one. It's just a short little OVA, just a few episodes, I think. I usually watch it once a year just because it's so quick and easy to just divulge into and let it freak you out. Number 3 on the list, Ghost Stories. Now, this is a horror anime originally in Japanese. When the English dub happened, basically they were given free rules to do whatever they want with the English dub, and they took that literally and went for an all-out funny, just total parody dub here, and you gotta watch the English dub. It is hilarious. It's still spooky, and it's still a good Halloween anime if you watch the original Japanese version or read the manga, but if you watch the English dub version, it's just for laughs. It honestly is just for laughs. It kills me every time watching it. I absolutely love it. Number 2 on the list is Parasyte The Maxim. Now, Parasyte is more a body horror, kind of like The Thing a little bit in an anime form, which I absolutely love. I love The Thing, which we'll get to that. But Parasyte is a fantastic way of an anime exploring something horrifically that no other anime has really explored all that well, or that much anyways, and it does a really good job. It's got a lot of action to it. It's more, I would say, probably more leaning towards an action anime than it is a horror one, but it's got some very spooky horror elements to it, and it's a perfect watch for Halloween time. Number 1 on the list, my number 1 horror anime, and I love it. I try to watch it whenever I can. Ghost Hunt. I love Ghost Hunt. It is the perfect characters in the perfect spooky situations that don't go too over the top, but definitely do get horrific to the point where people die and bad things happen, but never, you never harm the main characters. It is the absolute perfect balance. I've never seen a balance like it of good spooky horror stuff mixed with very not anime cliches, but the regular anime stuff you come to expect, and it's so well balanced. I really wish they made more seasons of it. It only got 1 season. There's a whole bunch of episodes that kind of encompass a little storyline, like 4 episodes make up one part, another 5 episodes make up another part, kind of that kind of storytelling. It's so well done. I absolutely love it. I really wish they'd make a sequel to it. I don't think they ever will, but the Ghost Hunt is my number 1 anime. I implore you, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. On to the next. Yeah, don't go down that way, okay? That's the way you get killed. Okay, time for the next category. This is a category that haunts me all the time. Puppets or dolls. And these are all puppets or dolls from horror movies or TV shows. Some might be based in reality, but I didn't choose any realistic haunted dolls or anything. Just the best ones from movies or TV. I just have this thing where I find dolls and puppets so spooky and so terrifying, but I can't get enough of it. It's like the little adrenaline shot where it's like, ooh, that's terrifying, but I kind of want to see more. You know what I mean? So puppets and dolls definitely do that for me, and I've watched tons of stuff with spooky puppets and dolls. A lot of it B stuff, which make up a big chunk of my runner-ups here. Well, some chunk of my runner-ups, but let me dive right into it and share with you guys what I think here. For runner-ups, Pinocchio from Pinocchio's Revenge. Yes, not Pinocchio, but this version of Pinocchio, which in Pinocchio's Revenge he's a horrific little bastard who wants his strings cut so he can go after this little girl and, I don't know, kind of change her into his, I don't know, slave or something. Yeah, it's a weird story. It's very B-movie, but check it out sometime because it does get spooky. There's a little bit of a tangle with him at the end. He grabs a knife and, you know, does a whole spooky puppet thing at the end there. And very good, very scary at the very end, but again, it's a B-movie, so take it with a grain of salt. Next on the runner-ups, Hugo from Twilight. Now, if you've ever watched the classic black and white Twilight Zone, there was one with a puppet in there, and his name's Hugo. Kind of creepy. He's just creepy to look at. I haven't watched it in so long, I can't even remember what happens. I can't remember if he moves at all. I just know it's very suggestive and very spooky to look at him, so that's why he makes the list. Take a look at him and you'll see what I mean. Next on the list is The Boy from The Boy. Another one where it's a creepy doll that doesn't actually do anything. It's just a creepy doll. And it relates to the... well, actually, in the second movie, they changed the whole thing so that the doll is kind of partly... I don't know, the doll has some evil in it and it is actually kind of controlling the situation. But in the first movie, it was more like a trick around where it's like, oh, it's a creepy doll. Wait a second, maybe it's not. And I'll leave that spoiler out for you guys to watch that. But the next on the list is Billy from Saw. Now, if you watch the Saw movies, that creepy little bastard, Billy is very... I don't know. It's just jarring. Again, it's not like he's alive or anything like that. It's just used with animatronics to spook out the poor victims in these dangerous and horrific games. And when I first saw him in that first movie, when he's on the TV explaining the game, oh, that gave me the shivers. And then when he rides out in his little tricycle to explain, I think it's Amanda, when she survives the trap and explain that she's so lucky for surviving, God, that scared me. And that little puppet, oh, still got me. Next on the list is Fats from Magic. Again, not so much a horror, but just a weird psychological, I guess you call it a psychological horror, but it's more like a psychological drama. Really early movie with Anthony Hopkins, I believe. And Fats, again, it's not real or anything. He kind of has some psychological issues. The person, the ventriloquist controlling him, and he starts to kind of believe he could be real, but you never actually see him move on his own or anything. It's just kind of when he's moving with the ventriloquist there. Very spooky to look at. Kind of a creepy doll to look at, so... yeah. Last on the list, or of runner-ups at least, this was one I watched very recently. I didn't know about this until I was doing research for this segment, actually, and it's Dolly from Dolly Dearest. Now, Dolly Dearest is one of those early Child's Play ripoffs where they took the Child's Play cash and wanted to create a really quick story with a creepy doll and a situation. I found it really... I mean, I actually thought it was good. It's not. It's very much a B movie, but I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Dolly is scary. I mean, check out these scenes. Yeah, or check this out.
Oh, goody. We're going for a ride. Get out of my
Yeah, am I right? Dolly's creepy as shit. So, Dolly makes the list because, again, just recently got into that one. Thought it was really creepy. It's a B movie for sure, and it's definitely not as good as Child's Play, but, you know, it's there. So, if you like creepy dolls, check all those out, or check out these top 5. In the number 5 spot is Robert from the Robert the Doll series. Now, this creepy little bastard, take a look at him. Yeah, very, I don't even know what the right word is. He's just creepy. And he's got this whole little B-movie series going on for him now, where he's almost like these little adventures where he just ends up going and killing a bunch of people. And he's just the most creepiest thing I've ever seen on film. And yeah, there you go. He's based off a real doll too. Robert the Doll is a real doll that was supposedly haunted. So based off of all that, but... check out these B movies if you ever are interested in finding some creepy doll movies. I definitely suggest the first two, the Robert the Doll and Revenge or something. I can't remember. The one where he's in a museum or something. Those ones are really good. Then the next few after that kind of, I don't know, they go off the rails a little bit. Number 4 is Chucky from Child's Play. Of course, he has to make this list. Now, he's not quite near the top because I've got some other suggestions that I think are better, but Chucky, especially the latest Child's Play, I thought did a very interesting new take on Chucky. But the classic Chucky as well. He's just a killer doll with a foul mouth, and you can't go wrong if you want to get your spooky horror Halloween type doll fix in. Chucky, you can't go wrong with the classics, right? Number 3 on the list is Billy from Dead Silence. Now, if you ever watched Dead Silence and you're into spooky puppets, it is like the perfect Halloween movie for you because it takes a shitload of spooky puppets and throws them into this ghostly world where a ghost is trying to resurrect herself through her dead puppet or something, and take revenge by cutting people's tongues out and stuff. Very spooky, but the the dolls in it, specifically this one named Billy, very creepy to look at. There's a whole ventriloquist scene. He never actually, well, besides like clicking open his mouth and stuff like that, he never really does anything on his own, but it's just so unsettling. It's a James Wan movie, so you know it's good. It was one of his early ones. Right after he did Saw, I think he did something else and then did this. It is very good. I highly recommend if you like puppets in spooky movies. If you haven't seen it, Dead Silence. Another one from the James Wan world is Annabelle from the Conjuring Universe, or her own Annabelle movies. She's got a whole little series going on now. She kind of rivals Chucky nowadays with the modern spooky puppet, and she's very unsettling and spooky to look at. Again, based off a real life actual the Lorraine Warren, the Warrens. Can't remember their names, but it's based off of that Annabelle doll that they actually have, I think, still in their home to this day. I think their son or daughter looks after it. But anyways, they made a whole movie universe about Annabelle, and some of it based in reality, some of it completely not, but it is very good. It's just very unsettling. Again, she doesn't actually move or talk or do anything, but it's just enough unsettling that it's a creepy doll to look at, and all the spooky stuff that happens around it, makes it for a perfect Halloween puppet to check out. Now, my number 1, the one that still haunts me to this day, Slappy from Goosebumps. And now you might say, oh, yeah, I've seen the movies. Yeah, he's nothing. He's just a joke. Watch the TV show. Watch the Goosebumps TV show, all the episodes with Slappy in it, and tell me that little thing isn't freaky. Yes, look at this guy. He is freaky. He moves. He talks. He wants you to be his slave. Enough said. He is creepy as hell. Here are some one-liners from him.
You and I are one now. Inseparable. You are my slave. They'll lock you up. Maybe they'll let you see them on visiting days. Yoo-hoo! Looking for somebody? I've seen better swings on playgrounds. You didn't say please. Abracadabra! Oh, I love that trick. Well, I hate linen. It's my wedding day, and I want my bride. My bride! My bride! Oh, you can run, but you cannot hide.
You see what I mean? Creepy little bastard. That's why it makes number 1 on my list. He still haunts me to this day. I've actually always wanted a replica of him, and there is I think a company that makes replicas of him. I have never had the nerve to do it, but maybe one day when I have the money and the courage to, I'll buy a replica of him, just so he can haunt me even more, you know what I mean? All right, next category. We're on the highway to hell. Yeah, sorry about that. Next category is games, okay? So horror games, spooky games. Now again, this one and movies, bear with me here. I chose a lot of series, and I do that on purpose because you might think, oh, but there's so much indie stuff that's so good, horror related, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, some of it is probably very good, and there's probably some very spooky or horrific things that go on in those, but a series encompasses so much. Like, it's hard to, pick out, that particular one and that particular one, where it's easier to say, I like this series as a whole, and you can't go wrong at Halloween and watching or playing, multiple of these, on purpose. So I think series, there's nothing wrong with choosing a series if you are, can back up your horror elements there. And again, you probably are thinking, well, a lot of these are more like a little bit action-based, and maybe some of them are, but some of them, they all include enough spooky horror elements to be considered a horror survival or horror game, and I'm sure there's tons of good indie ones, tons of good little ones, but to me, again, this is just my choices here, and that's fine. Maybe you haven't even gotten into some of these, or maybe these are choices that you might look into. So, the runner-ups are the Outlast series. There's 2 of them now, along with the Whistleblower DLC, which you can see on my channel, one of my earlier games. Yeah, Outlast series, not much you need to say about it. It's fairly horrific. They go for the throat and they don't let go. It's very, very horrific and dark and spooky, and I'd say the first one and the DLC a little bit more so than the second. Second one's very good and very spooky, but it goes too much psychological stuff and kind of went off the rails, but it's a runner-up nonetheless. Such as Amnesia series, that's another runner-up here. The Amnesia series, if you've ever played those games, yeah, watch PewDiePie play them. They're pretty spooky. They're very well done, and as much as they are pretty horrific games, I don't quite consider them in my top 5, but they're good games to check out nonetheless. Next on the list is Soma. Now, Soma, I absolutely love. It's by the guys who made the Amnesia games, but I absolutely love the storyline and the atmosphere and everything about Soma. Very spooky, some good little horrific things going on there. I could have chosen a whole bunch of others to add onto this list, like Layers of Fear and other things like that, but Soma encompasses everything that I think is good in a little indie horror game, and it did it right for me. Next on the list, the Fatal Frame series. Of course, you can't go wrong with some classic Japanese horror, and Fatal Frame, amongst a few other series, Fatal Frame does it very, very well with the classic, you got a camera, and that's your only weapon. Click, take the picture, oh my god, what is that? Very well done. And last on the runner-ups list, Slender Man: The Arrival. Now, play that game. It's creepy as all hell, especially some of the enemies in there that aren't even Slender Man. Like there's the gal who's, I don't know what you call her, she just turned into a creature as well. She chases you down in that factory place, and then later on you go to that cabin one. I think it's a bonus story. You go to the cabin and then there's that like creature out there that's like chasing you, hunting you down. Ooh, just spooky good fun. Check that game out. Now, number 5 on the list is the Evil Within series. Yes, I think as much of it is psychological horror, it's got some very creepy bosses, some very spooky stuff going on in it. More so the first one than the second. The second one kind of started to expand a little bit. Still very spooky, but I really love the series. I don't think there's anything wrong with all the action elements to it. I think horror games can have action elements. It makes it a little more fun and it's world building. I think stuff that does a lot of world building like this, even if it's not all directly spooky, it makes for just a more fun experience all around. Not just quick scare and you're out, it's a whole experience. So, which leads me to my next one. Number 4 is Dead Space series. Dead Space, again, one of those fantastic world building games. I absolutely love everything about all 3 games, all the spin-offs, the other media that came out, like the books and graphic novels and all that. There's some animes that came out. I absolutely loved it all. I really wish they'd bring the series back. I don't think it's going to happen. EA's kind of throwing some stuff around recently and they've changed it up, but Dead Space series, certainly very good. Did you know that James Wan directed the original video game trailer for it too? Yeah, how can you go wrong with that, right? Number 3 on the list, Silent Hill, the Silent Hill series. Now, once again, another one that I probably won't ever see again. Konami kind of shit the bed on this one, but my god, did it do some very good horrific elements to it when the series was, really starting out. Silent Hill 2 and 3 come to mind. They are very good games, very spooky elements to them. I love the series as a whole, and I think, again, for Japanese horror, as far as it goes, it is very weird, bizarre horror, and that makes it sometimes even spookier. So, number 2 on the list is Resident Evil series. Yeah, this has to be on the list. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. Sure, it's a lot more action related these days, but there's still some very spooky ones. Like, go play Resident Evil 7. That one gives you some chills. Go play some of the earlier ones, especially some of these new remakes. Resident Evil 3 is very action-based, but Resident Evil 2 will have some very good scares in it, and just the Resident Evil series in general is just very good horror stuff, very good horror, and I absolutely love the series as a whole. I love everything about it. Yes, it's more action-based, but it's very good world building of a spooky Halloween theme of zombies and creatures and all that. So, number 1 on the list. You probably all expect this one here, PT. Yes, what could have been a Silent Hills remake, which will never come to fruition now. PT was this, well, what it stands for, playable teaser, that Hideo Kojima from the Full Metal universe put together with what would have been with Norman Reedus and I can't remember his name, but the director of some of those horror movies like Are You Afraid of the Dark and all that, Guillermo del Toro, something like that. They were going to work on this together, and this was a playable teaser that Hideo put out, and my god, is it horrific. It is like the absolute perfect horror game, even though it's just a short little, recycling room you keep walking through and different things keep happening. It was a perfect showing of what could be, and had this ever actually happened, it would have made for one hell of a horror game if that PT teaser is anything to go off of what could have been the full Silent Hill game. So, yeah, there you go. That's my list for the games. So, on to the next. Hey, do you like my friend there, Jack Skellington? That actually didn't make it for the runner-ups in movies, the next category we're going to do, the final category. But Nightmare Before Christmas actually should have made the list for all the spooky Halloween stuff, but I digress. We'll go to the movies in a moment. Right now, this category is candy, or chocolate bars, or candy bars, or whatever you guys call them. I'm going to do this one really quickly, just show you logos of all the stuff I like. I don't, unfortunately, have any to eat right now. I'm not about to turn this channel into a eat contest channel. Maybe in the future. You never know. But the runner-ups are, and again, this is just pure, just everybody probably has their own tastes. These are just happen to be mine. So, runner-ups are Caramilk, Mr. Big, the regular M&Ms, the regular old Hershey's chocolate, and Cadbury Dairy. Almost any of the Cadbury Dairies. You can go through the whole selection. Now, for the top 5. Number 5 is M&M's, the peanut variety. Number 4 is Hershey's Cookies and Cream. I don't know how they mix the cookies and cream together, but it's just like the perfect mixture I've never had anywhere else. So, number 3 is O. Henry. You can't go wrong with the classic. Just plain old chocolate bar. Number 2 is Kit Kat. Same thing. Just a plain old classic chocolate bar. How can you go wrong? But number 1 on my list, my ultimate favorite, are Reese cups. Reese in general. You can do anything with Reese and it still tastes good, but especially those Reese bars. Oh my god, those are so good. But Reese cups are just, I don't know, the perfect classic little mixture of chocolate and peanut butter. I don't know how they've got this mixture down like so much as science, but damn are they good. And simple as that. I try not to eat too much chocolate these days, but every now and then you got to go for your favorites and have a little snack, you know what I mean? So there you go. That's the candy category. Okay, finally, the very last category of this little video I'm making here. The movies category. Now, again, I've chosen a bunch of series. Just go with it. These are my favorites. They don't necessarily have to be your favorites. I want to dive right into these right now. So, the runner-ups. First runner-up is the Insidious series. Now, I absolutely love this whole series, but I really love the first 2 that James Wan directed. Only 2 movies have ever made me jump in the theaters, and this was one of them. The other one's actually on the list here, too, for runner-ups. But the first Insidious movie, right where you see where they're sitting at the table having a conversation, you see the little devil guy over his shoulder and gets you with the jump scare. Yeah, I jumped to that. That got me pretty good. And, all the spooky stuff that happens in the second movie, too. Just a very creepy series. James Wan does an excellent job with those movies. I absolutely love that series. Next on the runner-ups is Halloween series. How can you go wrong with the Halloween series on Halloween? It is like the ultimate guy in a mask slaying everybody horror movie, and enough said. I don't think anything else as we said there. Same with A Nightmare on Elm Street, the whole series. That's another one on my list. Again, can't go wrong. Freddy, just like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, just these classic horror icons. If you're looking for something to enjoy on Halloween, you can't go wrong. Next on the list is the Paranormal Activity series. If ghosts are more your thing, Paranormal Activity does a damn good job of freaking you out with some ghostly activity. So check that series out. It rivaled the Saw series at the time when it came out, but giving it a good run for its money because these movies are really well done and very spooky. Next on the list is the Evil Dead series. Now, if you like a little bit of humor in your horror, whether it be those early movies with Bruce Campbell, especially 2 and Army of Darkness, or if you like the TV series they did, the very good horror movies with lots of gore and lots of humor in them, or watch the remake Evil Dead movie or the original Evil Dead movie, and they just pretty much plain horror, spooky shit happening to a bunch of kids in a cabin, classic. How can you go wrong? The next is the Saw series, which definitely very gory, very horrific. If you guys are watching that, take that with a grain of salt that it's more of a torture porn type horror movie. I don't think there's anything wrong with it because I think it's very well done storyline still. Yeah, they milk the crap out of it, but you know what? I have a lot of fun with the traps and the unique things they come up with for these movies. I think they're a lot of fun still, even though they are pretty gory, so... and then the Thing series, I absolutely love the Thing, the original with John Carpenter, and I actually really like the, I know it's very heavy CG, but the remake, sequel, prequel thing they did, I thought it was very well done how they kind of made it, the new movie kind of made a transition to the old one with the ending into the beginning of the original. So watch those in order of the 20, I think it's the 2011 one, and then like the 80s one next. You'll see the transition between the two. Yeah, the John Carpenter one I think is still better and still the better movie altogether with the storyline and everything like that. But both of them together make a pretty good darn spooky body horror / alien scare fair. And finally on the runner-ups list is Sinister, the other movie that made me jump in the theaters. You know that part where he's watching the classic movies and he's watching the lawnmower one, and all of a sudden he's just riding with the lawnmower, and all of a sudden whoever's the first victim up, the face shows and you see the lawnmower go over and it just does that spooky music. Yeah, I jumped pretty damn high for that one. So yeah, Sinister, surprisingly, not the second one, just the first one, did a very good job of being a very spooky horror movie as well. So if you're looking for just a one-off movie, Sinister is a good one to check out. Lots of jump scares in that one, but well worth it. Number 5 on my movies list is the Friday the 13th series. Jason Voorhees. How can you go wrong with Jason Voorhees? Everything that Jason Voorhees does is just... I don't know, slasher movie perfection. And yeah, it's very campy, it's very cheesy most of the time, but I really love all the campiness of it, and I think it just makes it even more fun to watch these. Watch the originals, you watch the remake if you want. The remake actually did a pretty good job. A lot more gratuitous nudity and all that, but the series as a whole, yeah, there's some very campy ones where he goes to space and stuff like that. There's the whole Freddy vs. Jason movie too. If you watch just the classic Friday the 13th series, they're very good. How could you go wrong? Number 4 is the Alien series. I do love Predator as well, but I think Alien series makes this list just because I just think it's just a perfect combination of horror and space, and then like you're alone, you're in the great unknown out in space, and it's also the body horror with the alien coming out of you. It's a perfect combination of all spooky horror things, and a really cool action series too, especially when you get to Aliens or the fourth one, or even some of these remakes that, not remakes, but the modern day sequels that Ridley Scott has been coming back and doing. Prometheus didn't so much capture the alien essence. It did have some teases in it, but Alien Covenant for sure went back to it. Probably not the greatest movie. I think the original 2, Alien and Aliens, are the best, but you watch the whole series as a whole, you can have a lot of fun with it. So number 3 is another slasher horror flick that totally changed the genre, and that's Scream, the Scream series. Absolutely love it. If you ask me, one of my favorite horror time movies ever it's Scream 4. I don't know why. I just really love everything about Scream 4. I had a really good time with that movie. I love the campy dialogue from the bad guy. But even the original 1 and 2, 3 kind of sucked, but 1 and 2 are really good, and 4 is excellent. And yeah, it changed the whole genre. It went very meta, and I think it made for a really interesting young person horror movie. So there you go. Number 2 on my list is Dead Silence. Yes, you probably are like, what the heck is that doing so high on your list? Well, James Wan does some amazing stuff these days, and if you ask me what my ultimate favorites are, usually it's James Wan related. So number 2 is Dead Silence. Like I said back when we were talking about Billy the Puppet, it does it so well, balancing puppets and ghosts and everything I always found creepy as a kid, and doing a very good job of just exploring it and balls out, just, you know, complete total chaos of, you know, of these puppets all going wild, and just, it was very well done. I cannot get enough of that movie. It is always going to be a staple of my favorites. I like the number 1 series here, which is the Conjuring Universe. Again, James Wan. Obviously, I really love James Wan horror movies. I think they do an excellent job. The Conjuring Universe, especially Conjuring 1 and Conjuring 2, it's really branched out now with a whole bunch of other movies. The whole Annabelle series is really well done, especially the recent Annabelle movie that came out. There's some other ones that are kind of but you know what makes it special is the Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2. We're hopefully going to see Conjuring 3 soon, but the first 2 Conjurings that James Wan actually directed, yeah, they are very, very well done. Like his like A tier horror movie that just does everything right, everything spooky. It is like the perfect Exorcist meets spooky puppet meets ghost meets everything type horror movie, and yeah, I think it's the ultimate horror movie to watch. You're stuck, you don't know what to watch for Halloween. Watch the first Conjuring and then watch the second one. There you go. That's some Halloween fun for you. And that was the final category there. And that brings us to an end of our Halloween horror ultimate ranking. I had a lot of spooky fun with that one. Hope you guys enjoy this fun little Halloween video I made of rankings. And by all means, check all these things out. The anything from the candy to the anime, the games, the movies, the music, the puppets themselves. Go watch the movies with the puppets in them. If you guys enjoy anything Halloween related, hopefully this gave you some interesting ideas of things to go check out. Again, don't argue with me with the list there. It's just for fun. These are just my choices, and you guys probably have your own choices, and that's cool. But I like these lists because, like I said before, these are a fun way to see what other people are interested in, and maybe it's something you never thought you'd be interested in. You go check it out, and you love it as well. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next horror. Actually, no, it's November now. It'll be normal stuff now again. But thanks for joining. Happy Halloween, guys. See you next time.